Hey there, everybody. Christian Alva here, and I'm with Stacy Schilling today. Stacy, say hello to everybody.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Stacy is an awesome person who I met on Facebook, and we connected. And I wanted to do this interview with her about her business. First question is, tell us about your business, Stacy, and what really makes it you.
So my business is Stacy Make Me Over, and I make you over as well as myself, and in all kinds of ways. And it's really focused on helping women, especially women over 40, understand their skin and the changes their skin has gone through, and really help them find the confidence back in their skin that they might have lost through their youth because of external factors, maybe diet, maybe medicine they took, maybe being in the sun, just changing of circumstances. Your skin changes, not knowing what to do to get your skin back to a better, more healthier position. And then as well as also using makeup to enhance your natural beauty. I love makeup. It's like a form of artistry for me, seeing as I'm also a traditional fine artist. And so it's just a different type of canvas. And for a lot of women, especially when they get that over 40 mark, sometimes they may or may not know how to do makeup if they haven't worn it in a while or never worn it, or maybe their skin has changed and they don't know what to do. And so my premise is to really help you understand your skin and how you can still have that natural beauty and look like yourself without 1,000 pounds of makeup. You've probably can go into, I know you could go into like YouTube and pick a video out and watch a makeup artist or somebody create a makeup look. Some of those, not all of the individuals, some of them are going to be in the 20 to 30 range. So their skin is going to be a lot different than your skin. The amount of product that they're going to use and the types of products may not be beneficial for your skin. And sometimes you'll see a look and they'll look really, really beautiful. Then they'll take their makeup off and you're like, whoa, like you're a completely different person. I don't believe in going that extreme unless you're in film or television and you're in an acting career and you're fulfilling a role where you need to have a particular look to fill that role. But in everyday life, makeup should be able to enhance your natural beauty, to be able to find who you are as an individual and your style, that fits your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've met some people and seen some people where it's night and day difference, makeup on, makeup off. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, like it's crazy. Question. So how many, so you do classes, correct?
Yes, I have online classes that I teach.
Okay. So tell us about the classes first and foremost, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay. So one of the classes that I have going for right now is how to create a basic face. And I know a lot of people are like, huh? Like, what is a basic face? I have what I feel is your basic face. Everything else to your face with makeup is like the jewels and the candies. So in this class, I'm going to show you the products that I use on my skin. And I'll talk about the colors that I'm using and the brushes and the techniques. And some of the techniques that I teach you, and the terms that I use in those classes are actually art terms. Because as an artist, all my life being a kid, there are things that we do in the art world that can really enhance your drawing, your painting, and make it look awesome. Those same types of techniques can be applied to your skin through makeup. So I use a lot of those terms. So I'm not going to say a term and not tell you what that term is and where it came from, because I want you to be educated. And I want you to also understand that makeup does not have to be super complicated and hard. A lot of people make it a lot harder than it is. One of the biggest struggles I see with a lot of individuals is trying to find the right foundation color. A lot of people pick a color that's just simply too dark for their skin, or it's too orange, too pink or too yellow or too beige, depending on their skin tone, because they don't understand what their skin tones are and how they should choose the right foundation color. So in those classes, I teach and educate you in a very simple, practical manner on how to do these things. And I'm capable of doing that because I also teach 5-year-olds. So if I could teach a 5-year-old how to take care of their wavy curly hair, then I'm sure I can help you as an adult take care of your beautiful skin.
Mhm. So Stacy and I had a short conversation before we actually started this interview, and we were talking about how important it is to be able to communicate in a way that when somebody receives information, they actually get it. Because how many times have all of us been in a conversation with somebody, whether that's a stranger we meet, maybe it's even a friend, maybe it's a teacher, and we're getting this information, but it just doesn't make sense, right? Like raise your hand if you're watching this video and just say, how many of you have ever felt that way? Like it sounds like you're supposed to know, but you're just not getting it. What Stacy is saying, and I'll just repeat what she said, is she breaks it down in a way for it's easily to understand, and it's very digestible. Like you want to be able to walk away from Stacy and anybody else that you're learning from and be like, you know what? That just makes sense. Why didn't I ever think about it that way? I used to feel like that, Stacy, when I was in like school, like middle school and elementary school. I remember I used to have teachers that were I just didn't really get what the heck they were saying. And then I had other teachers that would the way they just talked made me feel good about myself and made me understand. It was incredible, and awesome. Okay, so here's my question. So do these classes, and I want to know, being a guy, have you had any male clients or people taking the class?
Excuse me. Not yet. But it doesn't mean that a man can't learn, because maybe he wants to learn because he wants to help his young daughter understand how to do makeup. Maybe he wants to learn because his wife, for some reason, is unable to do it herself and wants to be able to provide that as a little luxury service to her. Excuse me. Or maybe his mother, like maybe he takes care of his mother at home and wants to be able to provide that service to his mother and take care of it. Maybe he just wants to know about women's skin in general and wants to understand it because maybe he's doing artistry and he wants to understand it. So that way, when he's doing artistry, he understands color in the women and their skin better. So just because you're a man doesn't mean you don't have to say, I can't take this class. The products may not work for you in terms of makeup products, but the information might be valuable to you that you might be able to take that. And then again, with the class, you'll have the information to share with other people. So we all know individuals, male and female, and we all communicate with them in different ways, through email, through phone, through Zoom, through FaceTime, through Skype, in person, snail mail, whatever, fax, if we still use faxes. And you might run into an individual or know of somebody that that they're suffering in this area of their life, or they're looking for help. And you might say, you know what? I took this makeup class by Stacy from Stacy Make Me Over, and I learned how to make a basic face. And you know what? I'm not a man, but as a man, I could actually go and do this to myself because I found the information super easy to follow. I think this class might be something you want to check out for yourself. And maybe she can help you with other areas regarding your makeup and your skin if you feel like you need that help and want to explore it. So I'm not going to turn a man away just because of his gender, because he could benefit the information and just use that as a way, as a channel to pass it on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I know, I wouldn't say no guys, like I talk to them, on the daily, but I do know some guys that have, wore makeup. I'm not going to say they do the whole face or anything like that, but, just certain things. And, that I wanted to bring up that question, A, because I'm a guy interviewing you about this makeup thing, but
Right.
B, also because, there are going to be guys out there that see this. It's definitely not just going to be women that see this video or this interview and might be wondering like, hey, maybe I would be interested in taking that for the exact reason Stacy just said. Maybe it's my wife, maybe it's my daughter, maybe it's my mother, maybe it's my girlfriend or whatever it might be, or maybe it's even for themselves. Who freaking knows, not a lot of guys wear makeup, but there are, a percentage that do. So
Yeah, and
awesome.
they might be interested in knowing what products too, because I have products available for purchase that they can also give as gifts to individuals. So if they're like, oh, you know what, I could take this class. Oh, this is great. I want to get a gift for my wife or my girlfriend or my fiance or whoever, or my mother-in-law. We can also discuss, what types of products would be a good fit for that individual, based on what you know about them and their skin and what they already wear, and making sure that I steer them in the right direction, for those products for that gift too. So that's another option that many men may not consider as well too.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because this is kind of goes into the next question. So the next question is what separates, like what you're teaching from all the other stuff out there. But before you actually answer that, let's talk about a little about the products, not like, not too much, unless you want to talk about it, more so. But what makes like the products that you're using different from like other people's products? Like, like there's a lot of stuff out in the market these days, like all natural, vegan this, whatever it might be. Give us a little intel on like what your stuff is, like the makeup you're using that would be like a separator. Because I know there's to be people watching this that they use a certain brand, whatever brand that might be, from Macy's or whatever. I'm a guy, I don't know all the makeup stores, but and I know some of that stuff is not, all natural or
Right.
whatever it might be. And maybe yours is and maybe yours isn't, but I'm going to let you talk so you can tell everybody.
So one of the things is we don't test on animals. I know a lot of people are really concerned about that, and the makeup is not tested on animals. So that should breathe a lot of sigh of relief, like, oh, thank goodness. So there's no animal cruelty within the products. What I appreciate about the product is I've used a lot of makeup brands over the years, a lot of high-end designer brands, and then also the lower cost brands. And some of the brands I used at different times in my life, just because what they were available. Some of the brands were a lot heavier on my skin, and I felt like I was wearing a lot of makeup, especially when it comes to foundation. Some of them, the quality and the pigmentation of the colors wasn't as dark as I needed to, and it was like kind of transparent, and you'd have to really layer and layer and layer the color to get the color that you want. And a lot of times when I was wearing makeup, it was to hide my skin and the imperfections of my skin. Due to some medicine I took, probably in my 20s and 30s, I can't remember which one it was. And, being out in the sun, and maybe there was times I should have wore sunscreen, laying out tanning, and I didn't, or just being in the sun, I didn't. It affected my skin. One of the biggest issues that I had with my skin, that I know a lot of people, especially women, are very self-conscious about, is dark patches on your skin. When you have dark patches on your skin, you're very self-conscious and aware of it, because at least for me, you're just like, oh my God, people are staring at my spots on my skin. I don't want them to look at them. I want them to look at me in my eyes and not be staring at that, because we get so in our head that people, even of the opposite sex or even friends, they might not say anything about us to our imperfections unless they're super close to us. But we have this negative fear that we feel like everybody's staring at it because we don't like it within ourselves. So I wore makeup for mostly to cover my skin and imperfections for years, and just also to make me feel like a better person. But some of the colors and the products I was using wasn't that great for my skin. Some of the products have like dimethicone and bad ingredients, and so it wasn't good. But what got me into this company that I represent in their products was actually a mascara. There was a mascara that was very similar to falsies, and I've always loved the look of falsies, but I will be honest with you, I suck at putting falsies on. Okay, you're like, what? I will always get one eye on perfect, and there will be always one eye that goes on crooked, or I'll be halfway out the door, and like the eye, it's coming off, and it's just like it. And there sometimes and if it's like that, it itches and it just frustrates me. And I'm not into really doing the lash extensions. I think they're beautiful and they're awesome, but I've heard some issues with people having some infections with them, so that kind of steers me away. But the mascara was what drew me in. And as I started exploring the different products, the primers, the foundations, and started really exploring with everything, what I noticed was I was finding colors that were working for my skin and my skin type. But on top of that, I was actually starting to look more youthful as opposed to older. Usually, sometimes you'll see people wear a lot of makeup and they look a lot older. What this makeup has really done is it really transforms you to make you look a little bit younger as opposed to older. And then we also have skincare. And that's kind of been one of the things that I really have strongly believed, because with my dark skin patches, I tried a number of different brands. I tried high-end brands and over-the-counter brands to diminish and lighten those dark spots, and nothing was working. And it was super frustrating as a woman, in my 40s with this discoloration of my skin. I was like, I don't like it. Like, I want it to go away. What do I do? And when I first started trying our skincare, I was really skeptical because I wasn't sure it would work for me. But what I really found about it was, because it is customized for your skin, so it's based on what your skin needs are and your skincare concerns, and then your usage of electronic devices, pollution, sunlight, and so forth. It's tailored to meet your skincare needs. So when I put those qualities in and found products that were based for my needs, then I started to notice the patches were gone. Like, one day I had the patches, and then one day I looked in the mirror and it was like, oh my God, my dark patches are gone. So that means I don't have to feel like I'm wearing 1,000 pounds of heavy foundation to cover my skin. I can actually wear a lighter coverage and still have a nice even skin tone, because I've been able to do that. So that's what it's done for my skin. And that's what I want it to do for your skin, because I know you might have some imperfections in your skin, and it all starts from your skin before you even get to makeup. If you don't prep your skin, then your makeup is not going to look like you want it to.
Yeah. So when I used to work in construction, building houses, you can't build a house unless you have, the right foundation set up, right? Whether that's actually the foundation itself, or the soil, all those types of things. And the higher you go, the better that foundation is to be built, right? So, and it's the same thing to say as, your health, health, is your diet, your exercise, the vitamins, like all that regimen and all that kind of stuff, like don't let it get to the point where you're popping prescription pills because the doctor told you so, right? To mask, the problem. At least that's just my opinion. But in any case, the strong, foundation is key. Make your face, your skin better and your face better by, doing what Stacy's talking about, using, skincare products that'll actually, take some of those blemishes or those dark spots and those things away, and, help that. And then the makeup will then kind of cover some of those other things. So that's awesome. So what separates, now we talked about the products. Now, what about the classes? What separates like your classes from like some of the other stuff out there? And there's going to be people that are going to watch this and say, well, what can I learn from Stacy as opposed to someone like going to a makeup counter?
I am going to help you from an artist perspective. So a lot of people that work at the makeup counters, some of them have cosmetology degrees, licenses. Some of them are estheticians and have that. And some of them don't have anything. They have no training. They might have been trained by the company that hired them, like Dior or Estee Lauder or Clarion or Clinique. And they might have been trained by the company on the products. I'm an actual artist by trade. So I've been doing makeup and I've been doing artistry since I was a kid. So I'm familiar with brushes and the type of brushes and texture. When I look at your skin, I'm not just looking at it to sell you a product or tell you what to use and why. I want to know more about it, because when you're an artist, and if you're not an artist, this may not resonate as well. So I'm going to try to paint you a picture. When you're working on a painting or a drawing, you don't necessarily start and work in that one spot. You will start in one area of your painting or your drawing. You might start in the center or the upper right-hand corner, the upper left-hand corner, or wherever. But what happens is as you work on that piece, you start moving all over the piece. You don't paint or draw in one area of the image. You draw in all areas at the same time. And over time, that area and that whole image will transform from that blank canvas into that finished piece of art, whatever it may be. So when you're working on your face, color is really important. Lighting, shadows, because you might have dark circles, which could be considered shadows. Lighting is when you get highlights on your T-zone. Those things that make you unique, and you've got to also understand what are your undertones. And because I have that artistry background, I can look at a photo in natural light and determine if you're a warm tone, a cool tone, or a neutral tone, and determine what foundation color that you should be put in based on what I see. I don't necessarily need to see you in person if you give me a great photo in natural light without any makeup on, because I want to help you understand what you're seeing and what you're doing are two different things. Sometimes we tend to buy a foundation shade a little darker when we don't realize we need to go 3 shades lighter. And so when I teach, I've taught kids as young as 5 years old. And so when you have to teach kindergartners something, you can't use big, long, complicated words or sentences because they don't understand. And when you teach a kindergartner, you have to make things super simple and break things down in a step-by-step manner. That's how I teach. So when we're doing a makeup class and I'm demoing, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you why I'm doing it. And I'm going to tell you a technique and why this technique is beneficial. So that way, when you're sitting there watching me, you're like, oh, I now understand it. You'll have opportunities to ask questions because you might have additional questions, but I want to make sure that when I'm teaching my students, and it doesn't matter if you're 5 years old or 85 years old, it doesn't matter the subject matter. I normally teach up to 20 different subjects. My job as a teacher is to make that light bulb go on for you, and is to get you to understand something that seems so complicated and complex to you in a super easy manner that you can go, oh my goodness, I totally get it now. That makes sense. Because if it doesn't make sense, then I need to reteach it in a different way, maybe using a different illustration or a different application or a different technique or different language, because my job is to teach. Your job is to learn. And if I'm not teaching you, and you're not learning anything, then I'm not a good teacher. And so it's vital that I make sure that everything is broken down in super concise ways. So that way, if you're taking notes, you're like, oh, this is easy. And sometimes people tend to overcomplicate something super large and make it bigger than what it really is. And I have this ability to really take something super complicated and just piece it down bit by bit and make it go, this is what it is. So that way it's clear and concise.
Yeah, make it micro. Yeah. Awesome. So for those of you watching this, what she just said for her last answer, the question, what separates her classes from others, is the artistry part about it, and then also breaking it down and making it digestible for you. I mean, if you're taking these classes, right? And when I say sitting in the chair, right, I mean like whether that's a Zoom or you're actually in a physical place, but when you're sitting there, it's the aha moment that Stacy gives you when she's explaining to you, the different applications, the different process of how to use the makeup in a way that is beneficial to you and understandable to you, that also makes you feel good, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to feel good. I want to feel good. When I go and I'm looking at, this pair of pants or this t-shirt or whatever it might be, and, while I'm shopping at the mall, I'm not envisioning like, oh, it's blue or it's black or whatever. I'm envisioning like, oh yeah, that's going to look good at the club, or that's going to look when we go good when we go out to dinner, or this tie is going to look, whatever, So at the end of the day, that's what we all really want. We want to feel good. And Stacy, I believe you have an awesomeness to you about being able to deliver that. Because from what I've heard in this interview and the little short conversation we had before this, I've come to realize and understand that it's not just, and here's the thing, people are watching this are probably like, why is this guy interviewing, this woman about makeup? That's probably weird. But at the end of the day, it's awesome being able to hear you explain that it's not just makeup, right? It is actually an art. It's actually, a process. There's a science behind it. And again, ultimately, it's to make people feel better about themselves. Right?
Absolutely.
So, Stacy, last thing, how do people get a hold of you? Tell us your website. If you want to drop a Facebook, a phone number, email, whatever, what's the best way to get in contact with you if people want some more information?
So I always tell my clients and all my design clients in the past, no, never to call me because I'll never answer the phone. Emailing me is always the best. I'm usually on the computer 24/7 practically. So email's the best. So you can email me at Stacy, STACY at stacymakemeover.com. You can visit my website, stacymakemeover.com, and you can sign up for one of my classes. And throughout that page, you'll be able to find my email to email me. You can also find me on my Stacy Make Me Over group page on Facebook. So you can always find me there too. I'm trolling through LinkedIn. So you have to go look for me, Stacy Schilling, on LinkedIn, and you'll find me through LinkedIn. So I'm even on Pinterest. So if you put Stacy Make Me Over on Pinterest, you'll find my Pinterest board on Pinterest too. So I'm all over social media, including TikTok.
Cool. And what I'll do is I'm going to gather all these different social media assets and websites and stuff like that, all these links, and I'll put them wherever you're watching this video. It'll be underneath that video somewhere or on the post. If you're watching this on Facebook, it'll be in the post. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be below the video. And if you're watching this on a website somewhere, the information will be below it as well or on the page somewhere. So, Stacy, any last words? Anything else you want to say that maybe I didn't cover? Maybe something you just want to shout out?
I just want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to chat with me and interview me and express myself and share everything. And the fact that you're interested in wanting to know more information, even though you are a guy, that you may or may not wear makeup, and that's your choice. And I'm not going to judge you or any person for that. But the fact that you're interested in getting to know me and understand me is awesome because it allows you to kind of have another way to connect me with other individuals that might be looking for my needs and my helps. And I appreciate that one. And if you're interested in taking my makeup classes or even want private lessons, you can message me. I'm more than happy to do private makeup classes if you need some particular one-on-one help. If the group classes kind of intimidate you and you have some specific needs. I know some people can be a little concerned about their skin and what their questions are and just feel like they need that extra time and that one-on-one attention. So I do offer those private lessons if you feel like this is something that you need. And if you want any more information about me and what I do, just message me. I mean, all you got to do is say, hey, Stacy, I want to know this information, or hey, Stacy, can I help you with this? Because there's no wrong question. The only wrong question is the one that you don't ask me, because if you don't ask me, then you're not going to get the information back to know what you should do or how you should proceed or whatever it is. So don't be afraid to ask me because you might be surprised at the answer you get, depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm. And that's spoken from a teacher. A teacher always says, I remember being in college and in high school and middle school, and the teacher would say, does anybody have any questions? And no one would, raise their hand because no one wanted to be the idiot, right? And then I remember being in college, one of our professors said, anybody have any questions? No one raised their hand. It was one of my freshman year. And then the teacher goes, if you don't ask any questions, you guys are, I get paid no matter what. So you guys, if you don't ask questions, you don't learn, you're still paying me for that. You're just wasting money. You might as well ask questions. And then boom, everybody's hand went up. So it was like, ask questions. And, Stacy just said, feel free to message her, on these different social platforms and things like that, and reach out. I reached out. The way I found Stacy was I found her on Facebook and we connected. And that's what I did. I just reached out to her through, direct messaging, the Facebook messaging platform. And we started having conversation in there. And that's how we got to today. So Stacy, thank you for being here, and you're welcome for the interview. I wanted to do these interviews to help people out, talk about their business and talk about what's going on, so that they can get some more exposure, for what they're doing. So thank you for your time so much. I'll be dropping all your links and all those kinds of things on this video. So thank you,
Thank
and
you.
till the next time.
Bye.
Bye.